Hello guys, today I'm going to give you a tutorial on how to build voice agents or chat agents on Voiceflow. If you don't know what Voiceflow is, it is basically a platform which allows you to build voice agents or chat agents with pretty low coding. So let's get started. Before explaining how to build them, let me show you how Voiceflow interface looks when you actually log in into it with your account. Firstly, you can have multiple workspaces unless you're on free version. As I am, you can only have only one workspace, which is default my workspace. Each workspace can have some projects. For the free version, it is max 2 projects. The usage tab shows you how much credits you have spent on your chat agent. It can also show the credit usage for different workspaces for different projects, and also it can show you the current usage cycle and the previous usage cycle as well. Here are the features. See editors one by one, projects one by two, workspaces one by one. These are, it shows the quantity of the features you have, which are editors, projects, and workspaces. You can also invite members into your workspace by clicking this button. By default, you will be the owner of the workspace you created, defaultly created. If you're building a voice agent, you can also add phone numbers like from Puello and some other things here. So first, let us create a project. For this, you have to go to your projects tab in your workspace and click new project. You can also import it if you've already downloaded project from other places, like you can import templates, etc. So I'm going to create a new project. It will ask you to enter a project name. Let me just enter like tutorial. And if you want to generate a project with AI, you can like describe here and click generate project, but it maybe have some flaws which I will explain you after. So I will start from scratch right now. So this is how it will be created. You will defaultly have these things on your workflow. So just let me delete this. We are starting from new. So this is the default trigger, default start. It will start from here when you start chatting with the chatbot or chat agent. So there are multiple tabs in your project too. The first one is the knowledge base, where you can add the data sources which the chat agent could use as its knowledge. Next, it is the publish tab where you can publish your agent, and you can also check the release history of your chart agent. And this is the transcripts tab, and it will also show you the evaluations. The next one is the analytics tab. It will show you the following things: total interactions, unique users, yeah, and all of these. So let's start actually building our first chart agent. In the chart, in the top category, there are 5 of them. First one is message. Just drag the message block into here. This message block will display some text when the chart agent enters this node. For example, hi, this is X. You have to connect it to this block like this by dragging it. Now let's run it to see what happens. As you can see, the start trigger is activated and the message is here. Now this message block also has some features called, now this message block also has a feature called variants. So on you clicking the plus, we can add a condition like this message appears if this happens, or this message appears. If that happens, in the condition option there will be three choices. First one is the condition builder. The condition builder is actually very simple to use. Like if a variable like last utterance is query, say this is y. Another option is expression, where you do some code to build a condition. So let's keep it away for now. The another option is the prompt option, which lets you give a prompt to AI through which a condition is built. I will explain it to you after. So the another category is the listen category. It has mainly the three blocks. First one is the buttons node, which gives the user to choose one out of many buttons. Let's say the first button is query, the second button is summary. Let's say if the user chooses query, there will be a message. We shall connect these two first. There will be a message called ask your query. If the user chooses summary, there will be another message called if this is summary. You can just drag it and choose the message node here and say this is the summary. And now let's try it again. So it gives us two options. Let's select the summary option. As you can see, it gave this. This is the summary, which is the actual node we want to execute. Another type of node is the choice node. Decide what the user's intent is and let us build different paths for different intents of the user. Let us create an intent here by clicking plus and then set and then selecting the intent and choosing create intent. Let's say query the user asks a query about the X company. Let the AI generate the phrases here. It actually needs the phrases to grab the intent of user much more accurately. So let us generate 5 phrases. As you can see, if you see the little bar here, if it's showing the green, it means it has the enough number of example phrases required. As you can see, the bar turned to green means it has enough examples to observe and grab the intent of the user, if it is a query or not. Let's now create the intent. Let me also create this intent for summary. Now I have created another intent for summary. Now let us delete the buttons block, and now let me put the choices block here. And now let's connect the query intent to this block and the summary intent to this block. And let's change the message here. Answer to your query. Okay, now let's run it. Now it gave the message. Let me like ask this summary. Yes. Yeah, it went to the correct block, as you can see. Next, it's the capture block. just go into the listen category and drag the capture option into here. So the capture block has two options. One, to grab the entire user reply and store it in a variable, or to grab the entity required from the user reply and put it into the variable we want. Okay, let's choose the entire user reply now. It already has a default one called last utterance, but you can change the variable to another thing. Like, let's create a variable, say user reply and create the variable. So now the user response will be saved to this variable right here. There is another option called no reply. If you toggle it on, a pop-up will be shown that here it is written 10, which means if the user does not respond within 10 seconds, these reprompts are activated. The reprompt will display this message to the user if the time limit is exceeded more than 10. So let me say time more than 10, and it also has another option which is follow path after reprompts. If you toggle it on, it will allow us to create another path if the user doesn't reply. Let's say put a message here which is no reply, and now let's run it. Hi, this is X. We will not give a reply here. Let's wait and see for 10 seconds. As you can see, time more than 10. After this, it will show no reply. Yeah. So let's check if it actually stores it into the user reply. Like, we will just put a message block, and we can actually represent the variables by curly braces. See, like curly brace and use reply, enter, and now let's check it. This is user reply. See, it works. So let's say we need a specific content of the user reply, not only the entire thing. So we can capture the entity from the user reply. Let's say we have to capture an email. We have to create an entity here, and create entity and email user, and it will be the email. Okay, so let's create it. And actually we need some examples here too. We can generate it using AI again. So we have a few more nodes in the top category. We have already explored the message. There is a node called image where we can display the image. We can also give the link here for the image. The next node is card. This is basically an image with some title, description, and more. We can also give the URL here too for the image of the card. The next one is carousel. The next one is the carousel. In carousel, multiple cards can be shown here at a time. The card block and the carousel block has the button option. We can add multiple buttons here, and we can say what each button does. If the button can go to a block, go to a intent, call forward for a voice agent, and the chart, and much more. The next node is the prompt node. As you can see here, prompts can be used to command AI to complete tasks or to respond to the user. We can use the prompt block as a sub tool to another blocks. For example, if we need the summary, we can first do the KB search here and then store it into a variable and prompt to respond to the user from the content grabbed from the KB step. So let's first do the KB step here. Okay, we can now enter the query to the knowledge base, which means give the summary about the company, and we will save the chunks or the content to the variable user create variable. Okay, we created the variable summary user. Let's make it 6 chunks, and then we will connect the KB search to the prompt. Here we will create a prompt named summary agent. In the system option here we have to give the instructions, and in the user option we have to give the query, which should be like the query asked by the user. Let's test it. Give me this summary, and then it should give the summary here. As you can see, it is responding with a summary of the knowledge base. Also, you can test it yourself without running the full workflow again and again by putting the value here for the prompt block. And also, you can change the model and some settings about the prompt block in here. As you can see, this defaultly Claude Core Sonnet, but you can change it to these all AI models. And you can also set the temperature, which is nothing but creativity. The more the temperature, the more the creativity. The less the temperature, the more deterministic the AI will be. And these are the match tokens which could be used to generate the response. Now I'm going to explain you about the nodes in the logic category. First, I'm going to explain about the condition node. The condition node gives you two options in the condition type. First one, the business logic. Second, prompt. First, let me explain you about the business logic. When you click on this plus icon, you will see two options. One, conditional builder, and the second one, JS expression. Condition builder is pretty easy to use. For example, if you want to check if a variable like last utterance is less than or equal to 10, you can select the last utterance variable here and click on this. You can click on less than or equal, put the value 10 here. And now, if the last occurrence variable is less than or equal to 10, the path determined by this condition is followed. If not, the else path can be used by toggling this to on, and the path determined by the else path is followed. Let's take a demonstration. Okay, let's ask the user for a rating 1 to 5. If the rating given by the user is in the range 1 to 5, we will ask the user to choose again. So first let's ask the user to choose a rating 1 to 5. Okay, now we will capture the user's reply by using the capture block and try user reply in the last utterance. Now we will use the condition block. Okay, conditional builder, last utterance is less than or equal to 5. We can also add another condition, which will be again last utterance, this time more than or equal to 1, greater than equal to 1. Match all means the path determined by these conditions is followed if all the conditions are satisfied. Match any means it requires at least one of the condition satisfied to follow the path determined by this condition to be followed. We are going to choose match all because we want the rating to be less than or equal to 5 as well as more than or equal to 1. Okay, now we are going to toggle the else path on. Now if the condition satisfied, we will put a message telling thank you for your rating. If the else condition is followed, we will put a message saying error, the rating should be 1 to 5, choose again. Now we're going to use the capture block again to catch the entire user's reply into the last utterance and connect this again to the condition block. Now let's run it. I will choose 6, error. I will choose -1, error. I will choose 4. Thank you for the rating. See, it works. Actually, this type of workflow is very primitive, as if the user replies with the message called I will choose 6, then the condition block will not be able to execute. Okay, it works if you only give the number without any extra information. So what happens if we give a statement other than just the number? Let's see. Okay, choose 4. See, it is going to the else part even if we choose 4, because we gave a full string saying I choose 4 rather than only the number. So the condition is not able to evaluate and the else part is being executed. Even capturing the entities is not that useful, because let's say if the user says I choose 3, no, I choose 4, it has two numbers, so the entities that are captured will also be confusing. So use the prompt in these kind of situations. So now we are going to use the prompt option instead of the business logic. We'll get an untitled prompt. In the user slot, we will say return 1 if the last returns is from 1 to 5, else return 0. And in system slot, we will say return only just 1 or just 0 without any extra fillings. Now we will select this path, and now we will select here if the return value is 1, else follow another path. We will connect the condition path to this and the else path to this. Now let's try again. I choose 3. No, I choose 4. See, it works fine now. Next, I am going to discuss about the set node or set block. Here, we can set variables in the middle of the workflow. Now, on clicking this plus icon, we will get two options: value or expression, prompt. I am going to explain you the value or expression block. We can select a variable here, let's say last response, and we can give a value or an expression here. The value is like direct value or another variable. The expression is the JavaScript code. We can also toggle this parallel execution option on if you want it to execute parallelly. In some cases, it is pretty hard to just pass the direct value into the set because, as I mentioned before, if the user statements can vary. So in that case, we can use the prompt option. Here we can put a prompt like before, and here we can set the return value by the prompt to any other variable we want. The end node is just very simple. If you want to end the chart in the middle of the workflow, just drag it into the workflow and connect in from the node, after which we want to end the workflow just like this. The next node is the component node. You can understand by the term component itself. The component node basically activates another workflow and returns when the other workflow is completed and after this workflow is continued. With the component, we will name it sample. You can also generate the component after giving the description through AI, but let me start from scratch. After that, you can edit the component. See, this is the workflow of the component. After the work of the component is done in the chart, it will return to the original workflow. Next, in the dev section, I will need to explain first about the tools. About the tools node, you can add an MCP server. You can make an API call. You can make a JavaScript function. Here in the function, you can give the input variables here. You can get the output variables here. You can add paths and also you can drop the image in here. Input variables go into input was in here and you can get the output using the output was. You can define the outputs in the return like this, and after you run it, you get this. See, it's matching hello world and the output is to hello world. There is also a separate function node and an API node, as well as you can do some JavaScript code in another node. You can search from KV using the KV search node. If you want to forward a call in your voice agent, you can use the call forward node and you can use custom action node to do custom actions. Like you can build a form in your chart agent. Now I will show you how to design the chart interface and how to actually put the agent in your website after you built it. First you have to publish your agent by using this button here like this. As you can see, the agent is published right now. Now you have to go to the interface tab right here. In this tab, you can modify the chart interface. You can define the modality. Chart interface, there are three types of chart interface: widget, proper, and embed. Position of the agent, and all of these. You can also go to the appearance and style and change the primary color, color palette, image, banner image and text, etc. You can also choose one of these three: disclaimer, footer text, and these all, but you have to upgrade for it. You can also manage the security, but for you have to upgrade for accessing some of these. You can also say that do not save the chart history as transcript. After making the changes, you can go under this installation option and copy the snippet right here. You can paste this snippet in your website code in the web page where you want to put the agent.